Welcome back, movie fans. Today, we're diving into the epic, action-packed world of X-Men Apocalypse, released in 2016. Get ready for mutants, mayhem, and monumental battles as we explore this thrilling chapter in the X-Men saga. Let's go! Hey, everyone, I'm Jennifer, and today we're breaking down X-Men Apocalypse. Directed by Bryan Singer, this movie brings our favorite mutants face to face with their most formidable enemy, Yetin Sabanur, also known as Apocalypse. So, let's jump right in. The movie opens in ancient Egypt, where we witness the rise of Apocalypse, the first and most powerful mutant. After being betrayed by his followers, he is entombed for thousands of years. Fast forward to the 1980s, and Apocalypse awakens with a mission to cleanse the world and establish a new order. He recruits a team of powerful mutants, including Psylocke, Angel, Storm, and Magneto, to help him achieve his goal. Meanwhile, Charles Xavier and his students at the School for Gifted Youngsters are trying to stop Apocalypse's plan. We see new faces like Scott Summers' Cyclops and Jean Grey learning to harness their powers. As the conflict escalates, the X-Men must come together to prevent the end of the world. This leads to an epic showdown in Cairo, where the fate of humanity hangs in the balance. Now, let's talk about some of the key characters and their roles in this movie. James McAvoy returns as Charles Xavier, striving to protect both mutants and humans. Michael Fassbender delivers a powerful performance as Magneto, who faces a personal tragedy that drives him back to his darker instincts. Jennifer Lawrence reprises her role as Mystique, stepping up as a reluctant leader. And of course, we have Oscar Isaac as Apocalypse, bringing a chilling presence to the ancient mutant determined to rule the world. The film also introduces younger versions of familiar characters, like Sophie Turner as Jean Grey and Ty Sheridan as Cyclops, who both do an excellent job portraying their characters' early struggles and growth. X-Men Apocalypse isn't just about action, it's also rich with themes of power, loss, and the struggle between good and evil. The movie explores the idea of evolution and what it means to be the most powerful being. Visually, the film is stunning, with incredible special effects that bring the mutants' powers to life. From the grandiosity of ancient Egypt to the destruction of modern cities, the visual storytelling is top-notch. In the 1980s, the X-Men must defeat an ancient, all-powerful mutant, and Sabanur, who intends to thrive through bringing destruction to the world. Since the dawn of civilization, he was worshipped as a god. Apocalypse, the first and most powerful mutant from Marvel's X-Men universe, amassed the powers of many other mutants, becoming immortal and invincible. Upon awakening after thousands of years, he is disillusioned with the world as he finds it, and recruits a team of powerful mutants, including a disheartened Magneto, to cleanse mankind and create a new world order, over which he will reign. As the fate of the Earth hangs in the balance, Raven, with the help of Professor X, must lead a team of young X-Men to stop their greatest nemesis and save mankind from complete destruction. Since the dawn of existence, there has been an ancient being named Sabanur, who is believed by many to be the world's very first mutant. Awakened in 1983 after thousands of years in a deep slumber, he plans to rule the world and wipe out mankind with help from four new recruits: Storm, Psylocke, Angel, and Magneto. With the fate of the world in uncertainty, Professor Xavier, along with Raven, Hank, and old ally Moira McTaggart, must lead a new generation of X-Men to fight the deadliest enemy they've ever faced. In 3600 BC, the mutant Sabanur rules ancient Egypt until he is entombed alive. After being resurrected in 1983, he believes humanity has lost its way. Aiming to destroy and remake the world with the help of four evil followers, he recruits Aurora Monroe and upgrades her power. In East Berlin, shape-shifting mutant Raven discovers Kurt Wagner, while Saba Nur recruits Psylocke and Angel, and enhances both of their powers. Can Professor Charles Xavier's students defeat Apocalypse and save the world from destruction? In 3600 BC, Saba Nur Oscar Isaac, a powerful mutant believed to be the first of his kind, rules ancient Egypt. Due to his aging health, Nur is facing death. He has a variety of destructive superhuman abilities, including telekinesis, cyberpathy, teleportation, and the ability to augment other mutants' abilities. Following a ceremony in which his consciousness is transferred into another man's body in order to gain his healing factor, the young man was a mutant and his powers would grant Nut immortality. He and his 4 followers, the Horsemen of Apocalypse, are betrayed by conspirators. The conspirators cut access to sunlight, which stops the transfer process midway. In the process, his followers are killed, and he is entombed alive as the entire pyramid collapses in on itself, when the pillar holding it up are destroyed by the conspirators. Before dying, one of the followers puts Nur's new body into a protective casket, and puts a shield around it to save it from the falling debris. A cult of Nur survives and succeeds in finding the location of his tomb and manages his awakening in 1983 when they accidentally shine sunlight over the collapsed tomb, thereby completing the transfer of the consciousness into the new body. He believes humanity has lost its way without his presence. Nur's emergence causes a tremor that is felt worldwide. Aiming to destroy the world and remake it, he recruits Cairo Pickpocket, Aurora Monroe or Storm Alexandra Ship, who can control weather, and upgrades her power. In East Berlin, shape-shifting mutant Raven or Mystique Jennifer Lawrence, a mutant with shape-shifting abilities, investigates an underground fight club and discovers mutant champion Angel Ben Hardy, who possesses a pair of large, feathered wings on his back, and Kurt Wagner or Nightcrawler Cody Smith McPhee, who can teleport. Raven rescues Kurt and employs the services of black marketeer Caliban Tomas Lamarquis to transport him to America. And Saba Nur recruits Caliban's enforcer, Psylocke Olivia Munn. Her abilities include projecting purple psychic energy, usually into the form of an energy blade, who leads him to Angel. And Saba Nur enhances both their powers, transforming Angel's wings into metal wings. Alex Summers or Havoc Lucas Till, a mutant who has the ability to absorb energy and release it with destructive force from his body, discovers that his younger brother, Scott or Cyclops Guy Sheridan, a mutant who fires destructive optic beams and wears a ruby visor or sunglasses to stabilize and contain them, is manifesting his mutation for shooting optic beams. Alex takes Scott to Professor Charles Xavier's Professor X James McAvoy, a pacifist mutant and the world's most powerful telepath, Educational Institute in Westchester County, New York, in hopes that Xavier and Hank McCoy or Beast Nicholas Holt, mutant with leonine attributes, prehensile feet and superhuman physical abilities, will teach him how to control his abilities. Scott meets the telepathic and telekinetic Jean Grey Sophie Turner, and the two develop an attraction. Raven brings Kurt to the Institute. Apocalypse's powers cause disturbances around the world, leading Xavier and Alex to consult with CIA agent Moira McTaggart Roseburn, who has been researching the legend of Nur in Egypt. Moira has no memory of Xavier, as he had purged her memory after their last meeting, X-Men Days of Future Past. Xavier tells Moira that he has level 5 security clearance, and she shares all her intel with him. Nur always had 4 protectors with him, which he called as the Horsemen of Apocalypse. Jean is having nightmares of an oncoming worldwide destruction led by a dark power, which she warns Xavier about. Jean is still learning to control her powers, and Xavier encourages her. In Poland, the metal-controlling mutant Eric Lencher or Magento Michael Fassbender lives with his wife Magda Carolina Barczak and their young daughter, Nina. He uses his powers to save a co-worker, prompting militia to come capture him. When they accidentally kill Eric's family, he retaliates by murdering them. Nur hacks into the internet and learns all about Earth's history since he has been gone. He learns Eric was the first mutant to announce himself publicly in 1962. And Saba Nur later approaches the disheartened Eric and takes him to Auschwitz, where Eric's power first manifested. Eric destroys the camp and the entire town and joins Nur. Raven tells Xavier that Eric has resurfaced and that he might be in trouble, prompting Xavier to enter Cerebro to try and locate Raven. And Saba Nur enters Xavier's mind while Xavier is using the mutant locating computer Cerebro to locate Eric and co-opting Xavier's powers. Forces all global superpowers to launch Earth's entire nuclear arsenal into space to prevent interference. All offensive capabilities like submarines, planes and ground forces are forced to self-destruct. Nur and his new lieutenants arrive at the mansion and kidnap Xavier. Attempting to stop them, Alex accidentally causes an explosion that destroys the mansion. Peter Maximoff, or Quicksilver Evan Peters, having learned that he is Eric's son and hoping that Xavier can help to find him, arrives just in time to use his super speed to evacuate the students, just before the explosion destroys the building, but Alex is presumed dead. Colonel William Stryker's Josh Hellman forces subsequently capture Hank, Raven, Peter, and Moira and take them to a military facility for interrogation. Scott, Jean, and Kurt covertly follow and liberate their comrades using Stryker's mind-controlled and brainwashed experiment. Weapon X Wolverine Logan Hugh Jackman, whose memories Jean partially restores. Xavier manages to send a hidden mind message to Jean and reveals his position to her. At Saba Nur's behest, Eric uses his powers to control Earth's magnetic poles, causing widespread destruction across the planet and mass casualties. And Saba Nur plans to transfer his consciousness into Xavier's body and use Xavier's power to enslave the minds of every person on Earth. Xavier secretly sends a telepathic distress call to Jean, and the others travel to Cairo to battle Apocalypse and his horsemen. They rescue Xavier, but he loses his hair. As the process nears completion, Angel is defeated and incapacitated in the battle. Eric and Aurora are convinced to turn on Saba Nur and, with Scott's help, they keep him occupied physically while Xavier fights him telepathically in the astral plane. Finally, Xavier encourages Jean to unleash the full extent of her powers, incinerating Saba Nur. In the ensuing chaos, psylocke flees. Xavier restores Moira's memories, and the two rekindle their relationship. Eric and Jean help reconstruct the school, but Eric refuses Xavier's offer to stay and help teach. Peter decides not to tell Eric that he is Eric's son yet. As the new X-Men, Hank and Raven train new recruits Scott, Jean, Aurora, Kurt, and Peter. In a post-credits scene, men in suits visit the Weapon X facility to retrieve data on Stryker's mutant research, including an X-ray and a blood sample marked Weapon X on behalf of the Essex Corporation. And Saba Nur is Apocalypse, the first mutant who ruled ancient Egypt until he was entombed. It's the 80s. CIA agent Moira McTaggart goes to Egypt and witnesses his emergence. He recruits his four horsemen Magneto, Storm, Psylocke, and Angel, giving them greater power. Meanwhile, Raven recruits Kurt Wagner, or Nightcrawler, from an East Berlin fight club. Alex Summers brings his younger brother Scott to Professor Charles Xavier's school. Quicksilver arrives at the school just in time to rescue almost everybody from an explosion, but Professor X is kidnapped by Apocalypse. I really like the first half. There are some good introduction of the new characters. It's working fine for the most part. It hits the pinnacle with Quicksilver's rescue, which is funny and exciting. It is visually dynamic and a joy to behold. The rest of the movie feels like a long, slow slide into mediocrity. The most troubling problem for the continuing franchise is the use of Mystique as the leading X-Men. That character has never been in that role. Jala is struggling to put out the intensity to match the central part. She and her character is not up to the task, so far. It's also funny that her powers is to not be Jala. The other problem is Apocalypse. I hoped for better, but his mega destruction is underwhelming. It's a lot of bland and his powers are nebulous. I actually think it would have been better to allow Apocalypse to be a two-parter. As in one and done villain, he isn't allowed to be anything more than a monster of the moment. With a lower level of power from him, it could be more compelling to struggle for the soul of each horseman. As it stands, the character Apocalypse is nothing special. So, what did you think of X-Men Apocalypse? Did it live up to the hype for you? Personally, I enjoyed the mix of new and familiar characters and the epic scale of the battles. Whether you're a longtime fan of the X-Men series or new to the mutant universe, this movie has something for everyone. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more movie breakdowns and reviews. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time with more movie magic.